Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon.
Parashat Behukotai, or Blessings and Curses. If the Jews obey the commandments, then reward follows in Israel. But if the Jews ignore the mitzvot, then punishment follows. The list of curses is known as the Torah. The curses outnumber the blessings by far. People have different ways of funding the sanctuary. There's a word that exists in English and not in Hebrew, and the same word exists in Hebrew and not in English. The word is y'all. Y'all is an English word. It means you all and makes you smile when you say it or when you hear it. The Hebrew, you can say atem, but that means you plural, you as a group. It's very formal and stiff. It's just not the same. And yet, when we look at verbs, in Hebrew, we immediately know if the verb is directed to one person or to a group. In English, we don't. If I say, you should eat, it's unclear reading that if that's meant to be one person or a group. So every time we see the word in Hebrew, in English, you, we have to ask ourselves, in the Hebrew, is this one person or a group? And this is very crucial for understanding the first verse of our Parsha. If you all follow my laws and faithfully observe my commandments, I, God, will grant your rains in their season, so that the earth shall yield its produce. And what's described here, quite simply, is reward and punishment. If the Jews keep the laws, then they are rewarded by God. But if the Jews break the mitzvot, then they are punished by God and the land of Israel. And this is what I call Judaism 1.0. This is the original worldview, theology mapped out by the Torah. But just like smartphones get system updates every year or so, they keep some of the things that really worked well from the beginning and change things as time goes on. Judaism does as well. There's some parts of the Torah that are still eternal and timeless. The idea of Shabbat, the idea of people being created in God's image. And there are other parts that are timely, that made sense in that world and not in ours. And we're beyond that. We've had a system update. And this reward and punishment theology is one of those views that has been updated. Rabbis and philosophers, even Orthodox ones, largely don't believe this is meant to be taken literally today. But today we still have to read these verses and we can still learn something from them. Looking at these verses, it never made sense to understand this to be true on an individual level, that God would send rain to reward the farmer in this lot for doing the right thing, and then the next door neighbor who was a criminal, God would somehow not make it rain on their field, and then the neighbor to the other side would make it rain. That never made sense. Let's go back to y'all, because the verse begins, if you all follow my laws. If you, as a Jewish community, collectively keep the mitzvot, then I, God, will reward you as a society. Because what a society creates returns to that society. I think we know that from experience, that groups of people, whether it's a small unit like a camp cabin, or a large unit like a city or a country, that treats others well, especially those that are other or vulnerable, it's more likely that when they are in need of help, or they have family in need of help, then they will get that help. If they create a safety net, there will be a safety net to help them and to others. And so the Torah describes sort of free choice, the freedom the Israelites have to choose what their actions are. And yet, as modern readers, we can look at this verse and understand that it's not only the action that we choose, but it's the destiny as well, because it's in our hands.